It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for action in the IndyCar iRacing Series. Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gonzo, and welcome to Race First coverage of Round 3 of the 2022 iRacing IndyCar Series season. Today, we're coming to you from Long Beach, home to one of IndyCar's crown jewel road events. Joining me for expert analysis in the booth this season from the Turn 4 racing team in the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series is our IndyCar Oval expert, Nick Sudik. Nick also wants me to mention that he's better turning at the other direction as well. And from the NHR eSports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series, our IndyCar road expert, Isaac Morris. Starting off with you, Isaac, what makes Long Beach so special?
Well, I mean, you know, what doesn't make Long Beach special? You know, like, Long Beach has got everything you want. It's got walls, fast corners, and it just takes dead-eye accuracy lap after lap just to be perfect and super fast. You know, one mistake and that's it. It's literally the Monaco of IndyCar. And it, you know, it's one of those races that every driver looks forward to each season. And personally, when it's on the schedule, I look forward to it. But, you know, can't be doing the race tonight because I'm sitting here with you guys. But, you know, I would have loved to be taking part in this race. But it, honestly, it just takes so much concentration and accuracy just to, you know, be quick lap after lap, and I think that's what makes it special, and I think that's why it's, you know, such a challenge for these drivers.
You know, they say respect the bumps over at Sebring, where we were earlier in the year, but definitely here at Long Beach, you want to respect not just the bumps, but the curves and the undulations and that wonderful last hairpin. Especially if you get that wrong, it'll set you up for one of the major passing zones here on the course. Personally, one of the best courses I think in the world, highly underrated. It is, as Isaac said, very much like the Monaco of North American open wheel racing. There's a lot of tempting places, but it is still very, very difficult to pass here on the streets down here in SoCal. So I look forward to it. You have to be on your toes for all 65 laps, especially with having to use those softer option tires. You will definitely see some wear at the end of those runs on those rears, just with the rear kicking out pretty much at every corner as you're trying to get a good drive off. So it'll be fun to watch, fun to see how people manage their resources, and again, it's something I've been looking forward to on the calendar since week 1.
Well, the IndyCar track record at Long Beach under this current 1.96 mile configuration is Joseph Newgarden. In 2018, he turned a lap of 107.511, as you are faster than that at the moment right now. I have Jesper Orman currently, I don't know if that's correct, but I have him currently with a 106.036. So the IAR, one of the Oval Masters over there, has been getting a lot of practice in turning left and right, and he is currently at the top of the charts. Alistair Jr., you know, I'll tell you what, let me lead into this one by talking about the undisputed champions. So, you know, this weekend we had WrestleMania, right, Nick? WWE crowned a new undisputed heavyweight champion.
Yes.
Well, Alistair Jr. basically is the equivalent of the undisputed heavyweight champion here at Long Beach. 6 of his 34 career victories came here, and he had a run of 4 in a row from 88 to 91. Almost 1/5 of all his career victories came here at the beach. Also, should be pointed out in terms of team dominance here, team dominance to nobody's surprise is actually tied between Chip Ganassi Racing and Team Penske. Although Andretti Racing is getting up there. I believe they are 2 behind. Each one of the teams has 6. I think Andretti Racing has 4. And of course, we know that when they have the race this weekend, we know that Brian Herta is good here. So that might be 5 by the end of this weekend. But about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in qualifying. Provisionally, we have Dale Smith on the pole with a lap of a 106.018. Before we get to the starting lineups and look how today's grid will look like, I would like to say a special thank you to all of our viewers for helping make our broadcast of the IndyCar iRacing Series race at Texas our second most watched race in our channel's short history. It's trending right now to be the most watched video very soon, so we want to thank everyone for watching and helping our channel grow. Hey, if you do enjoy Race First coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series and you respect the work we put into the stream, make sure you support us by smashing the like button below and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next race. We are also interactive, so shout out to your favorite driver or team or voice your opinion on who was at fault for that last crash. You can do all of that via the YouTube chat function. Get typing. We look forward to hearing from you. And now we are about a minute and a half away from getting to a starting lineup here at Long Beach.
I don't know whether there's been a bit of an issue with iRacing here, but I'm seeing a different list of names.
I was just about to say, Gary, you might want to check the broadcast split before it starts. I think we may have loaded into the... You may have loaded into one of the other splits by accident. I think it might have kicked you out.
Let's take a look.
This happens every now and then. I know I've tried to load into the proper split for whatever reason. The client is loading into one of the other splits, especially when I'm trying to watch top split. It's usually no worries.
Well, you know, when the screen came up, when the setup screen came up, I saw Dan, I saw everybody that was supposed to be there, and then we get into the session, and that's why I was kind of hesitating. Like, I saw Jesper, and I don't want to crap on Jesper at all because I know he's improving on the road courses. But I was on it, and like, that's normally not right, but you know, maybe he put a lot of time in here.
For sure. Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, there we go. I'm seeing the setup screen. I see the strength of field, and there's 3.9. I see Adam Green, Panero, Ike, and the usual suspects. But for whatever reason, when my session loaded in, I was data and something like that. Another weird. Hopefully we get into it before the starting line. If we don't, we start screaming. Go ahead, you guys.
So for me at the moment,
in 7th spot, we have Bruno Miranda. 8th is Cesare Menzato. 9th is Matthias Kraus. 10th is Chris Baumann. 11th is Philip Kraft with 2 P's at the end there. And 12th is Nico Pignotti.
we got Principal Dan P13, Crackerton P14, Nikaharu P15, Damien Veery P16, Matthias Witten P17, Andreas Ike P18.
I've got a long way to go.
19th, Timothy Vaughn. 20th, Julian Kleinbusenik. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I need my coffee. 21st, Andrei Suvornkin. 22nd is Vladimir Shumilov, and rounding out the field in 23rd is Fabio Saul. Give a shout out to your favorite driver if you're watching. Give a share on the link because we're about to go doing 65 laps here in the wonderful streets of Long Beach. Beautiful weather, beautiful time. It is track temp of 38 degrees Celsius, and that will be dropping, so the times will be getting faster as the race goes on.
Yeah, mostly cloudy, I believe, is what the weather report is. So we're going racing, and this is a pretty interesting start here because most of the field is going to be still trying to organize themselves, getting around the hairpin Well, the first 5 or 6 rows are already racing, so let's check this out.
And coming to the line. There we go.
Adam Crane with a nice jump.
They're all filing out behind them. This first corner is always really tough. See if they get through without incident. Oh, we have a little bit of an incident. I saw some bodywork flying off there at the fountain.
Yeah, I think it was just some small Whoa, okay, I just switched to Andres Seca facing sideways, and I was facing back in the right direction. I'm not too sure whether that was some weird netcode going on between two guys, but yeah, that contact at the fountain was between Nukahari, I think, and Freckleton. But it doesn't look like there's any major damage to both cars, so let's hope they can just keep the car facing in the right direction now for the rest of the race.
Ike has a little bit of front wing damage. It should be very, very minor, though, so we'll see if he is able to nurse that. Hopefully, he can continue on and start plowing his way up through the field.
Well, Crane has launched himself off to a pretty commanding lead already at the conclusion of lap 1. He has himself about a 2.2 second lead already.
Rashad Craig just made a wonderful move, diving down into turn 1 on Alessandro there. Great power move. Had a wonderful drive, like I said, off that last hairpin. You come on to the front straight there, and you can make an easy pass into turn 1.
We do have a copy of the track map. If you're not familiar with it, it is on your screen there.
Now, going back to what you said, Nick, about the front wing damage, whether the drivers would be able to nurse their car back to the pit stop. Now, there's one great thing about Long Beach. You can get a little bit of front wing damage, and you would only lose a minimal amount of speed because it's such a slow track. Downforce doesn't really play that much of a factor in certain corners. Like maybe turn 6, turn 7 would probably be the biggest issue, but for the rest of the track, it's a pretty slow speed corner and circuit, so I think you know, a lot of drivers won't be worrying too much about a little bit of a bent front wing.
Like we got Thomas Christensen in the chat. F, so no Jesper in the front row. No, sorry, Thomas. Jesper's not in the front row, at least not in this split. And it looks like we got some of our Brazilian friends there rooting on Bruno Miranda. So welcome to all of them. I tell you what, I don't know if you guys caught the Monday night split that we had here, but the Brazilians dominated the top split race that we had this week. They had 9 of the top 10 finishing. We're kind of joking with Matt Houston and some of the other guys that were kind of outside of the top 10. We're kind of joking that they finished best in class compared to the rest of the Brazilians. They just put on a mighty effort, and continue to watch them as a number of Brazilian drivers are in this lineup doing well already.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Pinheiro is Canadian. Am I right saying that? Brazilian, sorry.
Yes, I believe he is.
And now, Pinheiro actually is one of the drivers in the Lionheart Series, and when we raced here a couple of weeks ago, he put on an amazing performance, and unfortunately he did suffer some damage towards the end of the race, causing him to DNF, but Pinheiro was in for a shot for the race win for, I'd say, a good 75% of that race until Phil Kraus and Adam Blocker asserted their dominance as they usually do, but yeah, he might be one to watch out for tonight because he's had plenty of practice around here in the past weeks.
Yeah, I believe he started on the pole in that Lionheart race as well, and then you know, with and the guys are talking about it in the pre-race, how you know, people do like this track, but in many ways there's a lot of drivers that don't because it's horribly unforgiving and bumpy, and you've heard the phrase before, concrete canyons, when there really is no runoff area to the left or to the right, and in a lot of these corners, if you move straight on, you're kind of just hitting a kind of a runoff area, but not much beyond that. You really can't continue to go through. You'll have to turn around and try to rejoin the racing surface, as you see here in turn 1. But you hit the wall, you smack the wall, you bend just a little bit of your suspension, and it is day done here at Long Beach. It is horribly unforgiving.
Ooh. Yeah, got an incident at turn 1. Nick Pew.
Yeah, we're watching right now. We're just short. There he goes. It does a reset. Let's back it up and see what happened as he was diving into turn 1. Who was?
And there's also a problem for
number of cars were through here. Here he's into the inside. It broke while under braking, and everyone getting around him did a great job. Principal Dan did a great job. There was a little bit of wheel busting going on there, coming through the fountain, but most everyone did a really good job at avoiding calamity there.
Yeah, that could have been a real track blocker there, especially next to the fountain there. But I think everybody reacted really well, towed quickly that needed to, and hopefully, unfortunately though, the rest of the field's gain is their loss. So that may be day done, or at least a lap or two gone for Dan there. One thing I do also want to point out, I just picked up on this, is remember how I mentioned a couple laps ago that Rashad Craig had made that really good overtake? Well, Rashad's on the option tire. He's on the softer of the compounds there, the alternates, the red sidewall tires. Hugo and Alessandro in 4th and 5th, they're on the alternate strategy from most of the rest of the field. They are on the harder prime tire, the primary tire. So that'll be very interesting to see develop throughout the rest of the race. Especially those last 5 laps of the fuel stint where you really want to stretch it out. But those reds are gonna be screaming, especially at the rear end of the car.
I believe the top 3 are on the alternate compound at the moment, and that's one of the reasons why they're running so hard to break away. Those guys on the prime tire, which are actually kind of holding up the field behind them a little bit as we move the camera to them. Those guys on the prime tires really want to get ahead of those guys on the alt tire. But here comes Hugo. Look at the inside. Oh, that was. Guys, block or no? Was that a block or no?
I think there was a little bit of a reaction move there from Alessandro, but I think it was a little bit too late in the straight for Hugo to be putting his nose in that position, especially when Alessandro had committed to the inside like that. But it could be seen as 50-50, but.
Well, let's see if Hugo might have any slight damage. And we saw the wheel snap loose and then rubber back in, but we'll see if he has any damage unseen that has occurred to that car. But there is a rule for blocking in IndyCar. You're allowed one move, and then you're not allowed to make a second reactionary move. That is blocking. So that's kind of why we leave it up for interpretation there. Now, if this was real IndyCar racing, there would be stewards reviewing that, and it would be under, I would guess, be under investigation for the next lap or so, and then they would probably make a ruling. Either they would have to give the position up, or they would send the car through for like a drive-through penalty or something like that. But not so much here. It's kind of a little bit more of a gentleman's game, although you can protest after the race, but I don't see anyone really going to protest for blocking on lap 7 at this point.
So 5.1 second gap between the top 3 on those softer tires and this group that we've been following here with Hugo and Alessandro. So it'll be very interesting to see where the drop-off is with the track still being pretty hot at 38 Celsius. It's been hovering around 37 to 39 as the clouds have been going in and out. For mostly cloudy, we've been having a lot of sun here though, so that may change later in the afternoon here. But yeah, 5.4 now at the line, 5.5 between the two groups. So that'll probably balloon up to about 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds. But we will definitely keep an eye on that.
Now we're about a third of the way through the first stint. It's about 25 to 26 laps. I'm guessing that we're anticipating for the first stop to come around somewhere in that neighborhood. We're probably looking at 3 stops today. I don't know if anyone's going to do 2 stops, if that's even possible. Now there is, I believe it is now within the iRacing code that you do have to do the compound change. That is now part of the competition. They made that change very recently. I think in the last update, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But I do think the 2-stop is doable here, Gary, because we start with a full tank, take it to 25, 26 laps, then 1 stop, then we'll take you to the lap between 45, 50, and then just fill up for the rest. So 2-stop is definitely doable here.
Okay.
I think that will be the main strategy. I think what some drivers may do, like, so the top 3 now, they might go to the primary tire in the next stop and run that for as long as possible, and then look at taking the alternate to the end, so the shorter lifespan, so they can push the tires a little bit harder towards the end of the race and go on the defensive almost.
Well, this is the battle currently right now on the racetrack. This is the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. You see the 2 leading is Alessandro and Hugo here. They both have the prime tire, but everybody behind them have the alternate tire. And they want to get by this crew really fast because those all tires are not going to be lasting in terms of prime condition for much longer into the stint, will they not?
It's probably, from what I've been dealing with in practice, they'll probably last about another 5 laps, 6 laps, and at least with the setups that I've been driving, they'll just fall off the cliff. Like, you'll have 2 laps of, like, a good, slower, steady pace, and then they're just gonna fall off. It will depend on the track conditions, of course, like I said, if they stay this warm. But, yeah, especially this first stint, they're gonna be in a little bit of a world of hurt towards the end of that fuel run, just to make that number. But they also could short pit if they wanted to and run an alternate strategy from that as well. But yeah, they are starting to queue up really, 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 really heavily behind 4th place here.
And they're approaching some lap traffic at the moment, so we'll see how that impacts this group. Ooh, getting close to the wall there. Might have even made some contact with Alessandro.
Yeah, actually, in chat, Lorenzo took the words kind of out of my mouth. Yeah, you can make it to 20, not have to nurse those tires back through the rest of the stint and keep going. So thank you, bud. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, of course. He is our provisional points leader right now, and he even said, all I know is my P1 in IIS is about to be toast with this split. Well, your name's at the top. That's all that matters. So screenshot that, my man. Oh! Oh, goodness.
That is appalling from lap traffic, and Hugo is stuck in the wall. That is...
Let's go back and take a look at that. We didn't have a great camera angle on it, but we take a look at that one time.
That is possibly going to be one of the worst ways to go out.
What? Wow. Wow. Man. Yeah. Oh, there's another car a little bit further back, the 17. I'm seeing Chris Bauman. He's missing a front wing as well. But yeah, that's... I'll let you guys make the call on that one. I think lap traffic was at fault for that one for sure.
That's just chalk it up. That's bad communication right there. Like, if you're gonna cut across, if you got to make the pit, and especially if you're a lap down, please just yield. Just yield. That's an easily preventable situation, unfortunately. And Hugo took the brunt of that, and now his race is fairly in shambles, unfortunately. So a little bit of a suboptimal pit entry there. And that's definitely notes for the chalkboard there. Not trying to bury anybody, but yeah, it's that's all on that traffic on Vladimir's end there. Unfortunately, Hugo took the brunt of it.
Yeah, we just had a beautiful move by Bruno Miranda on Alessandro into turn 1, and I think that if we can get a replay of that, we can see Alessandro making that little move to the left to try and scare Bruno a little bit, but yeah, Bruno managed to pull the move off really nicely. But
All right, we'll take a look at this quick, setting it up here. Yeah, he did make that little bit of pump fake to the inside, and Bruno's like, nope, I'm going to send it. And clean pass there in the Yukos Racing Dallara right there. Clean pass. He's got the, now he can set sail with those red tires if he'd like and try to make up some time. So one of the cars that had the prime tire, or the prime tire on it is out due to a wreck that we saw just a couple minutes ago. And then the second car now with the prime tire, Alessandro has now been bypassed by Bruno on the alternate tire, so now he could try to put a little space between himself and Alessandro. But at some point, Alessandro's tires are actually going to become better than Bruno's, and that might close that gap back up.
Yeah, with the way that the primary tires are, I think we could be seeing that shift in pace over the next maybe 2 to 3 laps, because as Nick said earlier, the red tires will hit a cliff soon. And if you want to look at the leader's lap time, so Crane did a 108.8, Pinero 08.5, and Rashad Craig 08.8 as well. And before Hugo had his incident, he was running the low 109, so you can definitely tell there is a drop-off with these alternate tires starting to play a small factor. And with the guys running the primary tires, they could possibly be looking at a little bit of a pace advantage for the latter stages of the stint.
Oh, we're going to look at back to the front. Pinero is starting to reel in Crane. Got it down to about a second now. And I think, I don't know, Pinero might have a busted right front wing. It looks at a weird angle. Maybe we have one of you guys confirm that looks weird. Not.
Confirm he does have slight damage on the right wing.
And he's running them down. He's running now. I don't know if maybe Crane here is taking it easy and Pinero is putting down larger laps. See what they have this time coming by as they start lap 16 here of 65. That time by Crane a 108.8, Pinero a 108.6. So Pinero is reeling him in very slowly.
Yes, it could be a slight question of, did Crane take too much out of his tires in the early part of the stint, or is Crane just holding off a little bit because he knows that Pinero is probably pushing really hard right now and overcooking his tires a little bit, so he might try and save a bit of tire and then extend his lead again towards the end of the stint and run it closer to that 25 lap mark that we're looking at for a full fuel run.
I am noticing on both of their onboards there, it does look like Crane is kind of, I don't want to say overdriving the car, because it could be a perception from a like the setup standpoint, you know, different driving style, but it definitely does look like he is getting a little bit of understeer going into some of those tighter corners right in the middle of the track right before the back straight there. And then even going into that final hairpin, at the end of the lap there, still a slight little bit of understeer. Just again, might be him babying the tires a little bit, losing a little bit of downforce, going a little slower. But yeah, down to 0.8 of a second between the two here, and we're gonna have a barn burner of a end of a first stint, I think, here between the two of them.
Yeah, I'm actually got it down to 0.6 there. He made up a lot of ground in the fountain area.
Yeah, the tires are just about to fall off, I think. Yep, right about now. So they're gonna at least have to make it to about 20 laps, 20 or so laps if they want to do a shorter stint on these. But they're gonna be starting to feel it really bad right now.
Now, if you're a new fan of IndyCar, just to let you know about the history of Long Beach. Long Beach has pretty much been on a staple of either the kart or IndyCar schedule since the early 80s. Prior to that, it was actually a stop by Formula 1 and Formula 2. This current configuration has changed from the previous configuration right here at the end of the straight. There used to be a right-hander instead of this left-hander, which takes you back into the fountain area. That's the version that if you should go back and find on abandonware or something like that, the old IndyCar Racing 1 and 2, you can race the older configuration of Long Beach on that one, and that's where they have that turn onto a little switchback area, and then it brings it back onto this portion of the course. This portion of the course has always been there. But yeah, this course has gone through a couple different changes. This current configuration has been around for the better part since I guess 2008 or so.
Always good to give it a little bit of a touch up in every now and then. I do really like this configuration a lot. Like that mid to late 90s configuration is really nice with Montoya and Zanardi and, well, Zanardi versus Herta, like for the umpteenth time. That is like an unlocked memory for me from you just talking about that for me. But yeah, no, this place has always, no matter the layout, has always provided wonderful racing, some memorable images for anybody especially growing up watching IndyCar.
Yeah, this race is traditionally not last year because I think a lot of that had to do with pandemic. It was they had Long Beach late in the season. Traditionally, Long Beach is one of the first couple of races that kicks off the IndyCar season. Back in the mid '80s, the reason why it was so important is this was the last event. Typically, it was the opener was at Phoenix, and then they would come here, and then Indianapolis would be the next event. So if you had momentum coming out of here and going into Indianapolis, that was a key thing. Often we saw that with Al Unser Jr. We mentioned won 4 in a row from '88 to '91. It really didn't help him do Indianapolis too much in that time frame, other than the exception of doing really well in '89. And of course, he won in '92. But most everyone wanted to come out of this race on a high because now it's the month of May, and they pretty much are dedicated to Indianapolis once May 1st got around. Of course, now the schedule around Indianapolis is a much more abbreviated. It's not a month. It's just like a couple of weeks. They make it a month with the Grand Prix there to start the month, and then, of course, the 500 finishes the month. But Long Beach is very critical in the IndyCar season, to coming out of here and going to Indianapolis on a high.
I mean, a win here is probably one of the nicest feelings for any IndyCar driver because of how daunting this track is, and for sure would have given any driver a huge amount of momentum going into the month of May, and the biggest race of the year. So yeah, it's definitely something as a driver, if I was in that sort of situation, I'd 100% want to do well here.
So I do want to call attention, we have gotten to lap 21, just ended lap 20, so we are in that pit window going forward. So it'll be very interesting to see how many of these top, especially the top 10, 11, might try to get a little bit of an undercut going. Pit a little early, get some time, maybe do a little bit of a short fill if they think they're going to do that shorter stop in the second stint, see who can make up the track position.
Yeah, for sure. But this is where the track can bite you pretty hard, because if you do go for that early pit stop, you could, think about making up all that time. But if you get into any traffic and you get held up in the last section of the track, you could lose so much time. So all that time that you gained from pitting early and taking that life out of your tires could just go straight out the window. That's it, really. That can probably ruin.
Ooh, yep, I saw that too.
Strategy.
That was Crane was taking it really easy through the hairpin area, and Pinheiro came up on him rather quickly and had to take some evasive action.
Yeah, I think Crane is playing a little bit of chess here with Pinheiro, because I think he knows that he's got Pinheiro pinned down through sector 2 and 3, and he just needs to nail that exit every time. So if he can cause Pinheiro to take a wider line in or a later apex, he knows that Pinero won't be able to get past on the main straight, so then he's just holding him behind.
You know, we were talking about Texas being 200-mile-an-hour chest at times with regards to oval racing and being on a high-speed oval. This is 200-kilometer-an-hour chest right now, folks. We are managing the tires, trying to manage the fuel potentially to get another lap out of it so you can really push on that last stint the next time you put those reds on. That's one of the nice things about this race, and I think the distance that we have too is it just opens up the potentiality of so much strategy as Crane dives into the pits, trying to potentially get a couple extra tenths off of this. So we'll have to check, make sure his pit stop is okay.
There you see on the ticker, we put up the miles per hour, the best lap each turn in miles per hour. Not as impressive as some of the laps you were seeing at Texas, but 103.6 for Pinero, 103.6 for Craig, 102.4 for Miranda. I mean, that's a pretty good clip around a 1.9 mile road course where you have a lot of braking zones. That's an average speed around this place. That's pretty fast. But most of the time what you see in road courses is time, and then, of course, on ovals, it puts better in perspective to put things on speed on ovals rather than time on ovals. When I say 39 seconds in Indianapolis, although that is an impressive speed, if I say 230 at Indianapolis, that's much more impressive.
That Crane had a good, clean pit stop there. He's on the, looks like he's on the prime tires now, so
yep.
Get some heat into them, hopefully get a good outlap, because that outlap's going to pay dividends here. No sliding, just get them up to temperatures for the first half of the lap, and hopefully he will be able to maybe pull out maybe a second or more on Mr. Adriano out in second. Adriano's right now
still on the race
he's
course.
On the button.
Yeah,
he's on the button too.
Yeah, Pinero just did a 108.4. That's possibly one of the fastest laps that we've seen in the last 10 laps, considering that the tires are 23 laps old. Like, that's a pretty incredible lap, considering the tire life that he's probably taken after them.
Current purple lap right now is Crane with a 107.6 set a little bit earlier in the race. So he holds the fastest lap at the moment. Right now we are watching Pinero. It looks like he's going to go to the bitter end with these tires on this stint.
Yeah, he's just trying to get the last little bit of life out of them. Again, using that push to pass button, for those of you who aren't that familiar with IndyCar, you get a little boost button. Gives you a few seconds of extra power, more than full rich. You get 10 of those in iRacing.
Yep.
As Adriano got a little loose out of the hairpin there, getting on the power, but he gathered it well. You get a little bit extra power. You get 10 of those per race right now, per iRacing rules in real life. And hopefully soon we'll be getting another quality of life update and have a time ticker for the races.
Yeah.
But
so,
it does.
With IndyCar in real life, it's the push to pass is only activated when you have your finger on the button. Here you put your finger on the button, press it, and you get 20 seconds of the additional, I believe, 50 horsepower gain that gives you that momentary advantage there. You could use it to attack and defend. And a not so distant past in IndyCar when they did run the ovals a lot back prior to 2011 and before. They actually did have push to pass on the ovals they could have used. It was actually a tricky engine mapping that would send the engine to a fuller rich mode and then bring it back out. That was their push to pass for ovals. They're talking about maybe bringing that back. I don't know if I necessarily want to see that in the ovals. Also, in the days of old, you could change your tire compounds on ovals as well. I don't know if I necessarily want to see that as come again here in the contemporary IndyCar racing. Might be a safety issue involved there, but I believe there's a lot of those questions they asked in the last IndyCar survey. And if you didn't get a chance to take a part of that, I believe the results are. Just search it up. I believe the results there are with the IndyCar website and find out some of the questions they're asking. There's a lot more interest in IndyCar these days, and I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the Formula One drivers coming on over here and giving it a shot. And then the better thing is those Formula One drivers are giving the IndyCar and this particular chassis pretty good reviews.
That's really awesome to hear. That's good growth for world motorsport in general, as well as here in America. I will not be surprised right now, turning our attention back to the race here, if Adriano pits this lap. He's got a lap car in front of him. It's 26 laps on these tires. He's got to be coming in right now. Yep, there he goes.
Got Damian Bry sporting some damage right now, and he just took out another car. Yeah, and I'm not sure who he took out there. That is the 15 of Julian Kleinbusnik, and that's I tell you what, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get back to he cuts right in front. I don't mind Julian. I would be upset as well. That car probably should be towed, and he continues to bounce off walls trying to get it back to the pits. But
all right,
I know what he's trying to do, but he should really have towed.
We have Pinheiro coming out of the pits right now. Crane just crossed the start-finish line, so Crane should be getting past him. May get a couple seconds on him.
Yeah, he does. There he is, clear past, even before he gets off the button.
So that undercut, very strong. I don't want to question Adriano's strategy here, but he may have put himself into a little bit of a larger hole than he had anticipated. Stayed out maybe 2-3 laps too long there, doing those higher 108s to 109s for the most part.
Yeah, there's a lot to say. I'm sorry, I'll turn it back over to you here, Isaac. There's a lot to say. I know some drivers will not pit until they get to the bitter end of that tank. I think a lot of that's, especially when it comes to iRacing, more of a mindset you want to do on ovals rather than on a road course. Because on a road course, unless this is a league race where race control can throw a full course yellow, they don't get full course yellows here. You get local yellows, but not full course yellows. So there's no way to shorten up. There's no way to shorten things up and pit earlier, maybe with before the end of your stint. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to. So. There's a lot of people that have the school of thought that the more I'm on track rolling, the less time I'm losing. But as you clearly see here, as Nick pointed out, the cut has given Crane about a 5.3 second advantage over Pinheiro. Now they're sitting on equal terms.
Yeah,
go ahead, Isaac.
Just going back to what I was going to say earlier, just quickly. What we could possibly be looking at though is, so Adam Crane pitted 4 laps earlier than Pinheiro, so Adam Crane's going to have to manage his tires for 4 laps longer potentially than Pinheiro does, because Pinheiro now can have the option to pit at the same time as Crane, or he can then run the tires longer and have a stop that matches with Crane, or he can run his tires so he's out of fuel, but then have a shorter stop at the end, considering that there'll be less laps to complete. So it's a very difficult scenario here. I don't know if Pinheiro's tried to be really smart about the pit stops, or whether Craig really just is going to do 22-21 and just try and call it that way. But yeah, I think at the moment, just watch out for Pinheiro towards the end of the stint, because he's going to have those fresher tyres, and 4 laps can make a big difference with these tyres. I personally think so. Yeah, it's definitely something to look out for around about 20 laps.
Well, that car you see right behind Craig, this is not for position. It's a little bit further back in the field. This is Dan Piazza from Italy. He is a headmaster at a school in the Monza area, and I gave him the nickname in the Formula Indy Series when he ran there, Principal Dan. And it was on his car in the series. He took it off here, but he actually had Principal Dan on the cowling. I thought that was pretty funny. But he is a headmaster at a school in the Monza area. Says he's not too far away, just a couple kilometers from the track there itself. It's got to be pretty cool to sit there Formula One weekend to be that close to that track. But that's Principal Dan. Dan Piazza here, sitting in currently P17 at the moment. Not sure why, what his story in terms of why he's so far in the rear, but a very accomplished driver, very, very fast.
I want to give another big shout out right now to the number 23 car, who's technically the lowest I rating ranked person here in this split. Which, when everybody's above 3K, that's still a pretty stout field. Philip Kraft is up from P11 off the grid
18
to 5th
spots.
place.
Yeah, 18 spots.
And he'll be he'll be in great position, I think. He is running the softer tire right now, but he's gaining time on everybody behind him, so he should be able to hold on with those harder tires at the end there.
Well, while we got a moment, and we're kind of in that the mid-range doldrum dog days of the particular race we're running right here. Let's go through the top 10 and through the field a little bit. Here is your leader, and Adam Crane. He has himself about a 4.9 second gap back to Pinero. Pinero's reeled him in a little bit. It was 5.3 at one point, so there's kind of not so much pressure on Adam's part. He can kind of take it easy a little bit, plus he has lap traffic between himself and Pinero. So he could probably give those tires a rest and maybe make them last a little bit longer in the stint. P2 right behind him, like we said, about 5 seconds behind is Adriano Pinero. He currently has Principal Dan on his 6th. This is not for position. This is just for track position. P2. Rashad Craig, there we see him in the 11. Currently P3. He's up 8 spots from his starting position. P4 is Alessandro. Alessandro's up 12 spots from his starting position there in the number 16. And we were just talking about him, Philip Kraft. He is in the 5th spot, up to 18 spots from his start. Currently in 6th spot there in the Ferrari livery is Kubutsky. Hope I'm saying that right. Kubatsky? Yeah, Kubatsky. I'm saying that right. If we're saying anything wrong, feel free to you let us know in chat or join the Race First Discord. I believe the link is in the description, and feel free to correct us on these names. I don't know about you, Nick, but my name has been butchered so many times. I feel guilty about doing it to others. Here we got P7 is Cesar Banzato, the number 4 there. He is currently, this is for position between him and Peter. Up ahead. A little bit further back, this is also for position, is Matthias Kraus there in P8. Right behind him in the 13 is Witten. And Nakaharu in P10 in the Grosjean livery. Notice a lot of people have brought either their team livery, which we see quite a bit, or people are rocking a lot of Formula One or IndyCar liveries. That's pretty cool to see during the official IndyCar Series races here, to see a lot of the different either current liveries on the course or currently part of the series, or even some of the throwback stuff. You always get a pop out of me with throwback stuff, always. For instance, I believe right behind him for P11, there's Chris Baum. He's in one of the players. Forsyth Green Racing liveries there. That pretty much is your top 10.
Oh, I have figured out why Pinero had lost so much time to Crane in the pit stop. If we
fix the wing?
Yes, he had just jumped on board and saw that his front wing is looking very fresh, so that's a 5-second penalty straight away there. So
wow, that would explain the gap.
Yes, I believe it's 5 seconds for your front wing and 15 seconds for your rear wing. So yeah, that would definitely explain it. And also another thing to look at. Dan Piazza has passed Pinero. I think he may have let him pass to allow him to just follow behind and let Dan just get on with his race. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not for position, you might as well let the guy go, right? Just, if he's that much faster than you, let him go. Otherwise, he might force you into a mistake that might later regret.
Yeah, for sure. You can possibly look at Long Beach as one of those tracks where, it's an endurance more than the sprint, right? Because you want to make sure that you get to the end, so you may want to take certain precautions just so you can make sure you finish. So like what you would do in an endurance race. So like if a lapped car is a little bit quicker than you, you want to let them by, follow them, save some fuel, save some tires, sort of thing. And I think Pinheiro could be looking at trying that move. And he's taken another 2/10 off Adam Crane last lap, so Pinheiro's definitely got the pace on his tires to be knocking on the door of Adam Crane soon. So yeah, that's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, I think when we think of this as a sim, or some people call it a video game, they take it personally when they pass, but strategically, there's nothing wrong with being passed. You might realize the guy behind you has pace now, and you're going to have pace later. Let him go. The guy from behind you might be positioned. There's no reason to be forced into an error. Let him go. There's nothing wrong with being passed. And comes to sim racing, a lot of people think, "Oh my gosh, I'm being passed. There's a problem," but there could be a lot more to the story that we don't know. Oh, Principal Dan sideways coming off the hairpin there, and he's on the pit road.
Yeah, it was very well held from Principal Dan there. He just held the brakes, didn't do any sporadic movements, and just waited for cars to go past before he made his decision to go into the pits. And I think that's a prime example of what to do when you make a mistake, unlike what we saw in the early stages of the race with Hugo and that lapped car.
Yeah.
So it's looking like we got a couple of battles starting to slowly develop here. We have in 4th place, Alessandro has been slowly crawling back to Rashad Craig here, taking off about a 1/10 to 2/10 a lap. Rashad's been putting out some good laps as well, but oh no! Oh, as I just say that, I gave him the commentator's curse. Alessandro just hit the wall coming onto the backstretch there. His suspension in the left front
and he's
is
a car coming up
busted.
on him really quick.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
he was gonna be on.
Yeah, that's day done right there, or at least a shot for the win. And he slid into the runoff area there in the hairpin, trying to find a open spot, trying to get back to pit road here desperately without trying to kill someone. And yeah,
That's if that was real life, these stewards would be quite upset at you right there. But I trust me, I understand his frustration. He has, I believe, he has the second fastest lap of the race. He actually set a purple lap on his lap after his out lap, which is very impressive. He's been holding pace, but unfortunate. That's what we were saying at the top of the show here. You have even the slightest break of concentration, you miss your braking marker by even like 5-10 meters, you're done. Like, there's no saving it. You're on a knife's edge here.
Yeah, and
whether it's at the beginning of the stint or not.
There's not like a natural road course where you can run off onto some kitty litter or the grass and maybe save your car from hitting the wall. I mean, once you miss your braking point here, you're into a barrier, are you not?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Alessandro, but he was definitely showing some impressive pace there. So I look forward to seeing him hopefully maybe back on the track if it's repairable, but in future SOF races as well, because that was darn impressive.
You see, Principal Dan has the purple lap. Sorry to cut you off. 107.350 in this current stint that he's in. Actually, right before he made that pit stop, I believe, set that lap as he was running these guys down. So currently the fast lap is held by Principal Dan at the moment. Go ahead, Isaac.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure Alessandro may want a word or two with Nick after watching the broadcast, if he does rewatch it, because as Nick said, commentator's curse is going to be a Nigel Mansell and Murray Walker moment where Nigel Mansell will say, never say my name on the circuit, because every time Murray Walker would say something about Nigel Mansell would have the worst luck. So, yeah, I think Alexandra might be popping you a DM later, Nick. So
Well,
This is my heel turn right here, everybody.
so I mean that brings on a good question. Is something we could talk about real quick. I'm a big baseball fan, big baseball player, and when I was in elementary school and high school, and so did some intramurals in college, and very superstitious, very superstitious. Are either one of you very superstitious when it comes to driving? Are you certain things that, like if you do good one race, like, I don't know, a pair of socks you were wearing or something, you bring them back for the next race just to, because you're superstitious? Or is it really, there's really no superstitions in racing? What you guys tell me, what do you think?
Well, I definitely know you don't want to bring a, if I remember correctly, you don't want to bring a green car to Indy for the month of May.
Well, any green car except British racing. British racing
Yes.
green's an okay. Yeah, any green car typically is bad luck, yes. Which we've seen already in this race on a couple occasions.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar. I'm not. Maybe Isaac has more insight on it. There
Can you
might
think of
be
any
something.
superstitions, Isaac?
well, for me, it's not so much superstitions, but it's more of like a routine. Like I have like a pre-race ritual, like things I like to do before a race to like get my head in the right space. I know we're talking about we're just sim racing, right? We're not actually sitting in multi-million-dollar cars, slinging them around a street circuit. But going back a couple of weeks when I did Lionheart around here, my routine is like I get up. I stretch first before I race because, for some of you guys, you may not know, I have a direct drive wheel, and speaking of that, Chris Bauman just went straight on at turn 1. Luckily he didn't hit the wall, so he's kept it running. But because I have a direct drive wheel, my shoulders get very achy very quickly, so I like to make sure I stretch and warm up my shoulders. Also get like a good amount of water down me because I get warm very quickly, and a bit of a bad habit, but it's one of the things I like to do. But I like to go outside before I have a race and light a cigarette and just sit in one of the chairs that I've got in the back garden and just chill out and make sure that I'm prepared. And yes, Lorenzo, as you're saying, I get PTSD every time I go down that front straight now. I try and avoid that one section, and it has been called out on a broadcast elsewhere. But yes, that day in ISOWC, it makes me sad. Yeah.
It makes me sad too. I was riding with you. Both of us had some skin invested in that game.
Yeah, for sure. But there's like these little moments in a race where certain things are out of your control, and superstitious or not, I think having superstitions or lucky charms, for example, I think in a way some drivers could use it to blame a bad performance or so on and so forth. But I think at the end of the day, it's psychological. So if you're wearing your lucky socks, you have a little bit more confidence in yourself, or if you're wearing your favorite t-shirt, or you're running a certain number or a certain color on the car. I think it's all psychological at the end of the day, and I don't need to make this go against anyone, but I don't really believe in superstitions. I don't have any myself, but if that makes you a better driver, or if it makes you feel like you're a better driver, then keep at it, and make sure you keep on running these pre-race checks and doing these pre-race things.
Yeah, in real racing, you often see it. They don't really show it kind of at any other race other than Indianapolis, but that's when they have the long pre-race show, and they have the cameras back in the garage area and the RV area, the motorhome area, where they hop in and talk to some of the drivers who are in the middle of their pre-race ritual, where they're it's kind of sitting there trying to chill out. And very much sounds like the same with you, just trying to get yourself in a calm place before all the insanity hits all at once, because maybe not so much at other tracks, but certainly at this one, that dive to turn 1 on the start here, it's I don't know what your heart rate is, but I'm sure it's a lot more than what your resting heart rate is.
So
Yeah,
we do.
mine's
Oh,
about
just
220.
sorry to interrupt everybody, but you have pit stops starting here. We have entered that window for the final pit stops of the race. Philip Kraft going on to the primary tires, the harder of the compounds here early.
Something happened to
So
Bruno
that should
Miranda,
optimize
actually.
the pace
Sorry, I
that
didn't mean
he
to cut you
has.
off. Something happened to Bruno Miranda. He is sitting in the pit road right now. Looks like he has a bent up wing, and he's out of the car. So he was amongst the early leaders in the top 10 there, and they done for him.
That's
Yeah, I
very
believe
unfortunate.
he had an issue coming into his first pit stop because he was running what P5, P6, and then and he was dropping down all the way down to P16, P17. So I'm not too sure what happened to him. I think we missed it. It could have been a speeding penalty, because I know it is super easy to speed here because you can take the pit entry flat out. I know some people may not want to do it because of the walls, but if you get that angle right, you know, trigonometry, Pythagoras theorem, you know, all that stuff, if you get it right, you can take it foot to the floor and carry a little bit of extra speed and you know, gain a few tenths. And I think that's what he's trying to do, considering he could see that traffic, or the traffic that was building up behind him.
Speaking of gaining a few tenths here, Pinheiro actually the last 2 laps has gained about 3/10 of a second each lap.
Yeah, last
The
time
gap
by,
between him
Crane was a 108.8, and Pinheiro was a 108.6. So he is slowly eating into it. Remember, it was right around 5.5 seconds when he came out of the pits. We are down to 4.4, 4.3 at the moment.
The tire differential might be starting to show a little bit. Like, yeah, they are both on the harder compounds, but you still have tire life being taken out of them regardless. So the end of this now, 4.1, the gap. So it's going to start closing down here. Crane is on lap 23, or lap 22 of his stint. Pinheiro only on lap 18. So that 4-lap difference is going to be a huge window with those tires starting to dwindle at the end of the stint. Now, if I'm Adam Crane, and Isaac, you could probably agree with me or disagree. If I'm Adam Crane, I want to manage that gap, but I definitely do not want to pit earlier than I'm comfortable with. I definitely want to go as long as possible just so I can push those softer red tires to the limit at the end of the race here, even if it means giving up an extra second or two. I think with how difficult it is to pass, you gotta just hang with it and just trust your own driving ability. And Adam Crane definitely has that ability, as we've seen in the past.
Oh yeah, for sure. If I was Adam Crane right now, I would be taking these tires as long as possible, because if I was to pit earlier than Pinheiro, like Pinheiro's already got a 4-lap advantage over me, right? So I'm thinking, try and take these tires as long as possible to keep it at that 4-lap gap that they have, because with Pinheiro pitting later, he's going to have better red tires. Or I'm assuming everyone was going to go to the reds if they've run their primaries now. So, you know, Pinheiro's in a really good position right now for you know, his strategy. So he can probably take these tires a little bit longer, and Crane will pit, gain a couple of seconds. But how detrimental is that tire life that he's taken out of the tires in those 4 laps going to be? So it's a massive game of chess between these two guys right now, and it's all about who's going to blink first. And I personally think it's going to be Crane, but
Yep, as you say that, Crane does dive into the pits. So this is the money stop right here.
Important, coming on in, hit your marks, don't slide through, cost yourself some valuable time trying to realign your car.
I think Pinheiro, yeah. If I'm Pinheiro, I gotta answer. Like, I know
Yeah.
I have more tire life in those primes, but the track temp has dropped since the session started. The rubber has been laid down. You're good. Like, just go. And with the pace that they had, even when they had more equal tire life, I think we're in for a grandstand finish here. But we'll see what Adam Crane can do on this outlap.
Yeah, I'm looking at Adam Crane right now, and he's nailed the time to pit again because he's got a 4-second gap behind him and an 8.5-second gap ahead of him, so he can just get these tires up to temp and set some really fast lap times. And also, what we've got to remember as well, there's only 18 laps, if I can count correctly, left of the race. So, you know, he's only got to take these tires to the end now, and you know, with the way that the tires have been acting tonight, I think he'll easily do this, but it's all about these opening laps and how much life he's going to take out of them.
He's on sticky tires and light tanks, so let's see if he puts down the big one. This is his out lap right here. Pull right along and see what next lap, official full lap is, as getting ready to start that lap. What about now? Start finish line. And the clock's running.
At this point, if you're feeling like the tires are good, you got a good car under you.
Oh, he's not wasting time. He's already on push to pass.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go on.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to throw it down now. He has 5 left currently after that last press. Pinheiro has 6.
Pinheiro is still staying out, too.
Yeah, this is... I'm not too sure how I feel about this strategy from Pinheiro.
But you know what I'm thinking, though? If he's doing low 108s, which he just clocked another one, if Pinheiro is doing low 108s, he's either banking Crane's going to hit traffic, be able to make up that gap, or have an even lighter tank by about 4 or 5 laps. So that's...
We'll see.
That's a few liters right there. And by a few, I mean many.
He's off of corner number 11, main straight. What is it? 107 flat. Purple.
Oh.
Purple. That is your fast lap of the race, folks. You just watched it. 107.023. Adam Crane says, this race is mine.
Yeah, it's never a given here, though, on the streets of Long Beach, no matter what. One weird bump, one lockup, and that will cost you seconds, if not your front wing. So. Oh,
there could be not just that. I mean, while these cars, we don't have to really worry about engine issues or transmission issues or anything. I mean, certainly we can have equipment failures on our own computers and everything. Of course, this is a simulation, and there's another person at the end of the computer that's got a wheel and a set of pedals and a monitor, and I work in the IT field, so anything can happen at any time when it comes to electrical equipment. But we don't wish that on him, and we don't wish that on anybody. But where the real drivers have to put up with mechanicals, we have to put up with mechanicals as well.
Maybe I should just not say anybody's names. I should just go back to sticking with the pronouns again, like last round here, and not curse anybody else, because that's happened already.
That time by Crane, a 107.42. So a little bit slower, but to be expected, as those red tires can give up a little life every single lap.
That's a second.
Yep.
Oh, good.
No, taking a look back at our leader here. He's just passed the pit road, so he's going to go for another lap. P2 is Matthias Kraus here. He is on the backstretch at the moment. There's 24 laps into his current stint. Witten is 24 laps into his current stint. So these are the next 3 cars to pit probably here about any time. Let's see if Kraus, currently P2, making the turn around the hairpin. Does he make that turn on the pit road? Yep, he does. That moves him onto pit road, and Witten up to P2.
Crane's taken another half a second out of Pinheiro last lap. Gap's down to 30.3 seconds, and when Crane came out of the pit, it was 31.8. So with the way that things are looking, it looks like Crane is going to have like another 5+ second lead. So
he's going to have a big lead, because the pit box delta here is anywhere from 40 to 42 seconds, depending on how you do it. He's going to go one more.
This is what we were talking about with the tire life. Adam Crane right now, his last lap was a 108.0, and Pinero's was a 108.7. So we're looking at the tire life already possibly dropping off for Adam Crane. So you know, maybe that's what Pinero's banking on, is Adam's tire life to drop really quickly, so he can gain the tire advantage by doing this overcut, and possibly get Crane towards the end of the race with a nice fresh sticky set of tires.
A fresher set of reds and lighter tank, or about the same amount.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a lighter tank coming out. So, and that means he should spend less time on pit road. We're going to see. We'll see how this thing boils down. Crane last time on pit road was 40.7 on the lane, 8.6 in the box. The hairpin, if he makes that turn. Here he comes. He's on the pit road.
Yep.
Eyes on Crane.
Just on the backstretch now, there is traffic that they will be having to deal with pretty soon. So that may come into play for Crane here in the next lap or two, potentially, if they do not pit.
9, 10, 11 complex onto the main straight. Back to Pinero here. Still in his box, on the jacks, down and away. Going to be close. Might not be as close as we think. We'll see. No, not even close.
Yeah. And Pinero has got a lapped car between him and Crane now, so he's going to have to dispose of that lapped car before he can focus on Crane. And yeah, the gap between Pinero and Crane is 7.1 seconds right now, so Crane has definitely done his job with extending that gap, but I wonder if Pinero is going to burn up some of these push to the passes now, and
he has 9, or let me double check his count. He has 6 passes. So it's on his out lap right now. We'll see how his first lap on the reds with the light tanks will generate here.
Now, if he can get,
go ahead.
If he can get into the 106s, this is going to make it really interesting, because he's not going to be pushing nearly as much. There's not going to be as much weight in the car like we talked about. Less heat in the tires too, which I think might have been what happened with Adam starting out, just pushing a little too hard at the start, getting that sticky rubber a little bit cooked, and then having to pay for it for the first couple laps, taking more life out of him. So again, if Pinero can go for 106, we might be on for a potential chase down here in the last 10, 11 laps of this race.
Took a lot of that curb going into 1, and he does have a lap car in front of him at the moment. Okay, lap car, very gentlemanly, gets out of the way.
Bless you.
Props to him. Yeah, I don't know who that was, but props to you. We should find out who he is. Give him a shout out. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, us as drivers, we do have memories, and we do remember who wrecks us, and we also remember those that cut us breaks. Memories run long, and I'm sure at some point, if it ever should occur, maybe possibly Pinero returns the favor in the future. Who knows? It's always better to be a good sport than a jerk.
The old handshake emoji in the chat, folks, please, by all means.
Here we go, coming around the hairpin. Let's see what Pinero lays down for his first lap. 107.3. 3/10 slower than Crane's fastest lap. Let's see if maybe he puts down a faster lap this time around. I don't know, but he didn't use it. He pushed the passes.
Yeah, Crane used 2 on that hot lap, so we will we'll just see if it stabilizes. Maybe he can run a couple more 7.3s, because again, that'll be time taken.
Well, that time by Crane was a 108.3, Pinero was a 107.3.
The gap is only 5.3 seconds right now. This is going to be very close if these time gaps keep holding with their lap deltas. Oh my god.
We'll watch this time by. Watching right now on screen, Adriano Pinero. emptying his rundown of the leader, Adam Crane. Crane's pretty much dominated all day long. The end of lap 1 was out to a 2.2 second lead, this time by Crane with a 108.2, Pinheiro with a 107 flat.
If we can borrow a classic phrase from our wonderful friends at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he's on it.
Oh, yes. Tom Carnegie would approve.
Oh, yeah, honestly, this is, I'm just sitting here just watching the time just dwindle down and just sitting here gobsmacked, and I'm just thinking, like, I gotta save all my energy for this last lap by the looks of it, because Pinheiro is on a mission.
Now, Isaac, if I can pose another question to you. Sure. Being in a position where an overcut has actually worked, how does that make you feel as a driver when you know you have the fastest car on the track? Does that make you push even more? Does it make you feel a little bit more comfortable and hit your marks better?
I think the best way to describe it is like a shark smelling blood in water. Because you know you have an advantage. So A, you can push, but push at a manageable rate, or you can just full on send it and just hope that, you know, you don't make any mistakes. But usually when you're at this point in the race, okay, there might be a little bit of brain fade, but at this point in the race, your concentration is at 110%. You know where you need to brake, you know where you need to get on the throttle, and if you know you have fresher tires than the car ahead of you, you know where you're going to be faster, so you know where you can push a little bit harder and go a little bit lighter, and on the tires. So right now, Pinheiro is in possibly the best mindset and the best position on the track right now. As a driver myself, I've only been in this situation once or twice, but I can tell you it does something to you mentally that just makes you focus so much better.
3.1 to the leader. Sorry, he just, as you said, blood in the water.
Yeah, he is honestly, well, I think he is the fastest car out on track right now. The only one doing 107s, I believe. But you can start to see that that time deficit between the lap times going down now. So he was only 8 tenths, was that 7 tenths quicker than Crane last lap, whereas his 2 laps prior to that one were a second faster. So maybe he is taking a little too much life out of his tires, or he is pushing where he knows he's a little bit quicker. But yeah, Crane's got to save some tires for the last 5 laps of this race.
I'm gonna say this lap will be the real tell here. You're 4 laps in, you're starting to get the heat levels leveled out with those tires, especially again those rear tires are very, very important here with that last drive off of the final corner there. And if this can be another half a second to 3/4 of a second off, yeah, oh goodness.
Yeah.
As I say that, Pinheiro taking another 7 tenths.
Yep, 108.3 to a 107.6.
If this pace continues, he will catch Adam Crane with about 2 to go.
Yeah. Got it down to now 2 seconds as he's really pushing. He is so close to the wall that the predictive collision model with iRacing is making the contact sound. That's how close to the wall he's getting.
Yeah, I just imagining the small AWS box showing up saying how long it's going to take for him to overtake. But it's one thing to catch up to someone, but it's another thing to overtake.
Yep.
And as we all know, Long Beach only offers 2 overtaking opportunities, which is in turn 1 and the entry of turn 6. So this isn't going to be an easy task for Pinheiro to pull this off. But I'm here for the ride, so and I'm excited because
wow, it's a 108.8 versus a 107.9.
I mean, these deltas, like, Adam might be saving tire right now, and this might be gap management, but just the deltas that Pinheiro's been doing consistently. 1 second, 9/10, 7/10, 7/10, 9/10. Like it's incredible.
He's got to be rubbing his hands together, figuratively.
And a classic IndyCar battle between Canada and Brazil. I mean, how many times do we see Paul Tracy and Helio Castroneves and Emerson Fittipaldi and Scott Goodyear and all these great Canadian and Brazilian drivers battle on the streets of or any racetrack, but on the streets of Long Beach in particular. It's a classic IndyCar battle between two classic IndyCar countries.
All right, something also to keep in mind here. Nobody has used push to pass in about 4 or 5 laps, so Crane has 4 uses left. Pinheiro has 6. That may be the difference diving down into turn 1 at the end of the race here.
1.2 seconds, and he is within draft range for sure. And one thing that people really don't think a lot either when it comes to push to pass, you push that button, you are using more fuel, and if these guys have just enough fuel to get to the end, which sometimes they do that, and they don't have as much overhead to maybe account for a couple push to passes, they might have pushes, but they might not even have an ability to use them.
Craig Forsyth in the chat just mentioned, but will the Reds run out of steam first? Well, if they're going to run out of steam, unfortunately, with the paces that they've been pushing, they're going to run out for Crane first. I really don't want to see Crane lose this. I really think he's going to be able to defend. He's one of the best drivers on this service. Straight up. One of the best drivers, especially in this car. On iRacing.
Push to pass. Pinheiro has just used his first push to pass in a while. And he is out to get this. He is getting closer and closer every lap, and there's another 4/10 last lap, and with that push to pass, he's gained a little bit of time.
He gained a lot there in the fountain area. He goes through there at a pretty good clip of most people that he's fighting against. And we're back on to getting ready to go on to the backstretch here. He said it'll be about 2 to go. We maybe were a little bit slower on that one. He's there now, and he's going to have the draft going down the backstretch right here.
Yes, but it all goes back to that question: will Crane play that game of chess that he was playing in the first stint, where he was causing Pinheiro to take that wider line in the final hairpin, just so Crane could get that little bit better of a run out of the hairpin?
Gotcha.
Well, we already have Crane trying to break the draft a little bit, kind of throwing a little bit of a fade. A little hint of a fade.
Yeah. The old Pruitt fade.
Both on push to pass now. The only advantage Pinheiro will have is the slipstream, but it doesn't look like he's going to gain too much.
Oh.
Ooh. Again, got really close to the wall. iRacing prediction software went ahead and called it a collision, at least with the sound. Actually made the front wing move a little bit and then snap back into place, so that's how close he's getting. Keep in mind, folks, if you don't watch much IndyCar racing on iRacing, IndyCar is probably the most susceptible of all the vehicles on iRacing to netcode because they are so much faster than any other car in the service, outside of maybe the Mercedes, Silver Arrow's Mercedes on that just recently came out on road courses.
The W12, yeah.
W12.
I raced that a lot. That's how I've gotten a lot of road course exposure, and yeah, it's the same thing. So hopefully that doesn't come into play though with these two, because we are on for a grandstand finish here.
And you see on the pie readout on his steering wheel for Pinheiro, the green green border there in the readout area. That is meaning he's on push to pass. Push to pass turns itself off automatically in at least the game when you shift the gear or hit the brake.
No, it's only when you lift off the throttle.
It's off the throttle? I thought you hit the brake too. It would also shut itself off.
Yeah. That's
okay.
Yeah, off the throttle or hit the brake. Because with the way that iRacing calculates the fuel, it's all about the throttle input. So as soon as you take the throttle 50%, you're only using half the amount of fuel. So it would disengage the push to pass because you're not getting full fuel burn.
Gotcha. There you go.
Both drivers getting very, 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 very loose there. A lot of oversteer. We got the dive down to 1 to go. Coming to the line. Both on the button.
They're on their last push, I think. Each one isn't it.
Yeah, they both got 1 push left.
How deep is he going to break into the zone?
Oh, he's going deep.
Oh,
he would
missed the apex though.
It's okay. He's gonna have one more opportunity. Down on the backstretch coming up here. Is he gonna get that drive out near the convention
Crane's
center?
a little bit faster through that portion.
Ooh, Crane missed the apex a little bit for turn 6. Into turn 7 now.
How much beer driving's going on at the moment, I think?
If I was Crane, none. I'm one of them focusing on everything ahead of me and nothing behind me.
Here we go.
That's the last pass. He gets a little squirrely coming on the exit. Will we give him the chrome horn? Oh, he's side by side of it. No, that's it.
Oh.
No, that is it. He's
Adam Crane. Wow. Great defense by him. That was the best defense on, like, he could have opened it up there, but no, he kept to the inside, kept smooth like Isaac said, and that is a wonderful win by him. And what a race.
And I think that's why, you know, you said it yourself, Nick, Adam Crane is one of the best drivers on the service in this car, because he just knows what to do and when to do it. So, you know, fair play. Adriano had the pace, but Adam had the tactics in the bag today, which effectively won him this race. So, yeah, both great drivers, but I have to say, Crane was the better driver today.
watching the remainder of the field take the checkered flag right here, watching the remainder of the top 10 as they cross the start-finish line. Pretty much is it. I think everyone is did their lap. That is it from a Long Beach race that ended up turning in a lot more exciting than we thought it was about mid-race through. It was like, he's got a pretty good commanding lead. I don't think anyone's going to get him, and then it turned into quite the sprint there in those last handful of laps.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think we, or one of us predicted that it was going to happen towards the end of the race, but yeah, it's always good to see a close battle between the leaders. You know, you never want to see a Lewis Hamilton type dominance in one of these races. You know, where he just pulls away and that's it. You know, just makes the whole race a lot more interesting. And yeah, and I think you know, this race and the race in Texas, you know, they've both had really interesting finishes and unexpected finishes as well. So yeah, it's been a great race to broadcast today.
Well, that definitely deserves a thumbs up. For those of you watching at home, make sure to give us a thumbs up here at the bottom of your screen, or if you're watching on your phone, hit that thumbs up or on your screen. Would appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, you name it.
I'm just catching my breath. I said it in chat. My heart was racing just watching that. Like, oh god, that's what we love to see here in the iRacing, in the IndyCar iRacing series here.
Let's get the final results here up on screen. Adam Crane holds off a hard-charging Adriano Pinero to win. I believe the margin of victory, well, it was a lot closer going into that last turn than it was when he actually took the checker flag. Margin of victory at the checker flag was .554, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things in road course racing, that's pretty close. But he was right there in that final corner, and a great defense by Adam caused Adriano to take a slightly different, longer line through, and that secured the win for Adam Crane. So P1, P2 right there. Rashad Craig, a very quiet but a great P3. It is the bottom step, but hey, man, he got on there. Great run by him. Philip Kraft, P4, and Cesar Manzado in P5. Your top 10s: Matthias Kraus, Matthias Witten, Peter Kubitzki, Andre Savorkin, and Shota Nakaharu in P10. Rounding out the top 15 here is Klein Busnik, Shumalov, Stahl, Vaughn, and Freckleton. The next page. Principal Dan there in 16th, Ike 17th, Rye 18th, Bauman 19th, Miranda in 20th. Dildon 21st, Olsen 22nd, and that is a very disappointing day for him. I'm sure he's probably going to hop in the next race here and try to audit this one out. And Punani with P23. And that rounds out your 23 car field here and the Long Beach round of the IndyCar iRacing Series. I don't know if anyone is in the interview area. I'll take a look.
Yeah,
there it is. There is Adam Crane. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in the champ. Hey, Adam, you're in the booth with Isaac, Nick, and myself. Great run and great defense there at the end. Was there any strategy that you were trying to save the tires because you knew he was coming, that you would need those tires later in the run, or was it all out all the time for you?
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. No, there was a little bit of tire saving there at the start of the stint. I realized as soon as the first stop, where Adriano decided to go long, that he was probably gonna go primary alternate with a short alternate stint at the end. So my plan was to extend the second stint for as long as I could, and then just put myself on the same tire that he was. So, I mean, one of the things strategically that you got to do is you got to sort of know who you're racing. And if you end up doing sort of the same thing as someone else, then chances are if you're behind them, you're not going to pass them. But if they're behind you, they might not pass you. So there was I think about a 4 or 5 lap difference in tires between me and him. I actually thought that I'd probably have a little bit more of a gap just when he exited to start his final stint. But yeah, an absolutely awesome race from everyone with the Satellite Racing team and everyone in the split, including Adriano, and really happy to come home with the win today.
Isaac, Nick,
Adam,
either one of you? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Adam, did you first off, please congratulations. But did you have any worry because you even mentioned it yourself, you thought you were gonna have a little bit more of a gap? Any worry about the pace that Adriano was having? Because you did have the fastest lap of the race, but you did drop down a little bit there in terms of pace. Were you concerned at all with his pace coming towards the final run to the line?
A little bit. Coming to the line, not really. Once I got to a point where I had enough push to pass each that I could use them each lap down the front straight, then I was pretty confident that I'd be able to hold him back as long as I didn't make any mistakes. There's a saying in football when you're playing defense, you don't want to give up anything cheap or anything deep. So I was pretty much just trying not to make any mistakes that would cost me too much time, and was hoping that lap cars didn't interfere and cost me a bunch of time, because that was really sort of my goal, was just making sure that I had probably about a 2.5 second gap. Once the tires leveled off, I knew he'd be faster for the first 3 or 4 laps of his stint, and they leveled off, but not maybe as much as I was hoping, or perhaps my pace dropped off a little too far.
Mhm.
But yeah, the goal was really just to make sure that I had enough push to pass that I could use it every lap, and that's what ended up happening.
Well, you handled that masterfully, and congratulations again, Adam. You should be close to the points lead here in IIS going forward into the month of May here. So congratulations. I hope your momentum keeps up even further.
Yeah, it's great if we can walk away from Long Beach with the points to lead. I know Will hasn't run any races yet, I don't think. He ran one on the Wednesday, but we'll see what happens there with him. And yeah, the drive for 3 in a row continues.
Isaac, got anything?
I was just first off, just want to say congratulations on the race win. It was definitely very nail biting towards the end, and yeah, just want to ask how much sweat was pouring off your head in those last 5 laps?
Actually, not a whole lot, remarkably.
Chill. Listen to him. He's all chill.
I'll admit to being an emotional racer. Especially in qualifying. Qualifying is probably when my heart rate's pretty high. But during the race, it's probably pretty calm because you end up sort of knowing what you have to do, and the gaps are all set. It's just about going out there and performing with the information that you've got. Qualifying is a little different because you don't really know what other people have run. And you have to actually nail each lap and maximize everything, which I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the absolute best at. But when it comes to driving, withstanding pressure, within the limits, not making mistakes, I'd probably say that's probably my strong suits.
Well, fair play for keeping cool,
Yeah.
calm, and collected.
Don't get me wrong, I will be getting a shower, but I'm not sweating like profusely. Put it that way.
Well. Anyway, again, congratulations on the win. It was really interesting to watch you two guys go to the very end.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully we put on a good show, and thanks a lot for doing these broadcasts, and hopefully we'll see you out for more of them. They're awesome.
Yeah, by the way, before we let you have your shout outs and everything, going to Barber next, before we get into the Monday. Right now, I mean, you just got done running race. I don't know if you're thinking ahead to the next one, but your outlook at Barber.
Anytime Barber's in the schedule, I'm a happy man.
Oh,
Barber's
okay.
probably my favorite my favorite track to drive. And the IndyCar and Barber is probably my favorite combo on iRacing. So I'm uber excited anytime the IndyCar goes to Barber. Really looking forward to running there and developing setup work because I could literally lap it for days on end, no problem. So yeah, mega excited. And then, as you said, into the month of May, and we're pretty much full bore on testing for the Indy 500. Hoping to make top split with the satellite racing cars between me and Chad. So should be an interesting 6 weeks.
All right. Well, shout outs. Anybody you want to say hi to or watching, sponsors, that type of thing. The mic's yours. You earned it. Go right ahead.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, big thanks to everyone at Satellite Racing for helping with the setup. I know we were a little off on the Monday night race, but glad that we could come home with a win in a pretty high SOF today. Big thanks to Ellis Engineering and Alex and everyone else at Ellis Engineering. Hi, Mom. Hi, Jess. And yeah, should be a lot of fun here for the next little bit.
Well, congratulations. Once again, go get some rest and enjoy your win. And we'll see you here in just a couple weeks. Not too long from now. Just a couple weeks here at Barber. So congrats, and we'll check you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot. That is the only interview we got, which is fine. But keep in mind, if you want to be part of the interview process, feel free to join the Race First Discord, and we'll bring you back in for future races. Before we get out of here, thoughts from you guys, starting with you first, Isaac.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked from that race. I thought it was going to be one of those races where we would just sit here for 65 laps just watching singular cars go around, not many battles, not much really going on, but I was proved wrong, and I love being proved wrong because it just gives me hope that the IndyCar series on iRacing is alive and well, and there's always going to be some interesting competition each round. We saw it in Texas, we saw it today. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for Sebring, so I couldn't really tell you what happened in Sebring, but it just makes me really excited for the next up and coming rounds, and especially if Adam's going to be running in Barber. Barber's one of my favorite tracks as well, so I can completely agree with him when it comes to that statement. But yeah, it'll just be interesting to see who else crawls out of their beds and gets into their sim rigs to participate in Barber, because we have the likes of Lorenzo and Hugo. Obviously Lorenzo wasn't in tonight's race, but it'd be just interesting to see if there's just these other big names. Obviously in Texas we have Brandon Trano. Maybe he'll hop on for a road course. It's just just always super interesting to see these big names in the iRacing IndyCar Series to come along and participate in, these great races. So yeah, just pure excitement right now.
Nick?
Yeah, hey, Long Beach never disappoints, what I tell you. We got all kinds of action. We had a couple incidents that were unfortunate, took out a few of the contenders. We had wonderful battles on track. There was so much going on track that we didn't even touch upon some of the battles. For instance, with Rashad, again P3, Philip Kraft ended up P4. You guys did amazing. It was one of the best races I think I've ever watched on the service, straight up until the very end. And it just, between the strategy, the tension of the gaps coming down, the mid-pack fights were even great. Traffic was very respectful towards the end too. This was a top tier race, and I am so excited to see, like Isaac said, IndyCar alive and well here on iRacing, as well as for you all for tuning in. So thank you again. And I'm sure Isaac, myself, and Gary look forward to bringing this to you every single time we do. So, yeah, just stoked. Absolutely stoked.
I couldn't agree more. And again, you mentioned Kraft. Shout out to him. 19 spots gained. No one else was even close to him. 19 spots gained. So that was your hard charger of the race. So eyes on him, certainly. Barber. My last take on this race before we move on. This car and this track seems to be a really good pairing. This is in real life, and this is a great race. In real life, this is one of the few tracks that the current version of the IndyCar chassis, which is a DW12, but basically has the IR18. They call it the IR18 with the current aero kit on it. Is the only track, I think, on the schedule that the IR18 holds the track record at. Everything else seems to be held by one of the earlier versions of 12. So it says that this track is a pretty good pairing even for the real IndyCar, and even in a simulation, it's a really good pairing for this car. So lots to be said about that. I think that's about it. So let's take a real quick breath, and we'll get on out of here. That's it for today. Once again, your podium from Long Beach is Adam Crane, Adriano Panero, and Rashid Craig. Join Raceverse again on April 29th for round 4 of the iRacing IndyCar Series, coming to you from Barber Motorsports Park. Coverage should begin approximately 2 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Again, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube at youtube.com/raceverse. As always, check the official iRacing schedule on your and our channel for the correct time in your area. Hey, we love bringing these races to you, but they're not easy and require time and money to produce. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar and have enjoyed our coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series, please take a moment to go visit our GoFundMe page. Go donate to our broadcast fund. It is in the description. We realize the real-world events have made money tight for everybody, so any contribution would be greatly appreciated. We thank you for watching and making us a part of your Friday afternoon. Our season. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support your friends at Raceverse with the monthly grind. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of today's race. And if you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video, just like that, right there. If you are new, click subscribe and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out more of Raceverse's iRacing IndyCar programming, including our weekly coverage of the Monday night Indy Fix Top Split at 8:15 Eastern Time on Mondays. And starting again in June, join myself and Jalopnik.com Ryan Eric King as we'll be bringing you exclusive coverage of Season 5 of the Revolution IndyCar League's Papers IndyCar Series. Keep your browsers set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge on all of iRacing. Raceverse, we are your IndyCar experts. For business inquiries and to find out more about what we do, visit raceverse.com or follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Gary Gonzo on Twitter, right there on your screen. Follow Raceverse right there on your screen. Follow Nick right there on your screen. So, for Nick Sadiq, Isaac Morris, and everyone at Raceverse, I'm Gary Gonzo saying to all, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed. God bless and come home safe. Thanks again, everyone. Catch us again April 29th at Barber Motorsports Park for the next race of IndyCar iRacing Series. So long.